If those chip shots look like you, then you need to watch this video. Now, if you saw one of my videos earlier in the week, we talked about arc depth and low point and how the relationship of the two is what creates the strike in a chip shot. If we get them wrong, especially when we're in a bunker, which is why we're here, it represents the kind of lies we were maybe seeing at the waste management where the top edge of the surface was really soft. I've got no margin for error. I've got to be one of two types of player. I've either got to make sure that my low point is directly below the ball or just a fraction in front, and I want to be interacting with the ground, so my arc depth needs to be shallow. I need to not be taking too many grains of sand. If I was to take more grains of sand, you could see I'd actually enter the sand too early. So we're looking for really good control of arc depth, shallow angle of attack, and then we can get a good strike out there. So you can see I've virtually not touched the ground at all, which means that my low point was roughly where the ball was, and as a result I was able to get a good strike, good flight, good spin control. The other option is to position my low point further forwards, so via leaning more onto my left side, so making my shoulders a lot more level so that my sternum is now ahead of the ball. I'm going to stand slightly closer to it, which increases the VSP, so vertical shaft plane, that's 90. That would be 0. If you imagine 0, there is no up and down element to this motion. It's purely horizontal, so the attack angle would always be 0. The steeper I make the VSP, the more the relationship of putting myself forwards, which increases angle of attack, becomes true. Right? So the steeper the VSP, the more I will increase the angle of attack when I position the low point ahead of the ball. When I'm swinging, I want to be making sure I have some interaction with the ground, and I want to make sure that it happens after the ball. So you can see there, much more ground, much deeper, and as a result, the ball came out with pretty much the same flight. What we would generally see with the shallower players is a slightly higher launch with a slightly lower spin rate. What we would see with the position of the low point ahead, because of the angle of attack, the spin loft increases, the launch angle slightly lower, slightly more spin. So you're trying to stop the ball with spin rather than landing angle. The beauty of being in the bunker is it's a fantastic visual of where the club is entering the ground and how consistent you are at getting the club to interact with the same amount of sand, which means that the arc depth is the same. So if you're steeper, you want that thud sound as the club comes in, and then getting the strike as we go through. So that one was a little too shallow. I didn't take enough ground, so my arc depth wasn't deep enough, and as a result it came out just a fraction thinny. Try and play that one more time. So I'm ahead of the ball, slightly closer, thumbs are down, steeper VSP, and I'm just looking to interact with the ground. There we go, really nice strike, nice spin rate on it, and you can see a lot more ground. So get yourself in a bunker to practice your chipping. Choose whether you're going to be a shallower or a more steep player. It doesn't really matter in my opinion. Just get good at controlling your arc depth. There's no margin for error in the bunker, so if you get it wrong, you'll see it straight away and you'll start to notice the pattern and hopefully be able to fix it.